Ortiz, who's never homered against Benoit in his career. Bases loaded. 2 out. Hard hand to right. Back at the wall. Tie game! Big Papi. The grand slam.
Some call him the most clutch hitter in all of baseball. Some call him the greatest DH of all time. Red Sox fans call him Big Papi. I call him Idol. Today I plan to inform you about the life of David Ortiz. Specifically speaking, I will be covering the birth of his worldwide known nickname Big Papi, his first contract signing, and his fairy tale last season of the legendary future first ballot Hall of Famer David Ortiz. Let's start off by looking into why David Ortiz is known across the globe as Big Papi. According to author Tony Maserati and the man himself, David Ortiz, in the book Big Papi, My Story of Big Dreams, Big Hits, Ortiz doesn't really know how it began. When he became a Red Sox player, he would talk to other players and they would all refer to each other as Papi. He would go on to explain where he comes from in the Dominican Republic. The term Papi is just like the term buddy or pal in the United States. Overall, over time, the entire team would begin to call each other Papi, and he feels like over time it just kind of stuck with him. Every baseball player's pro ball career starts somewhere. Let's take a look at how Ortiz made his way to play professionally. In the March 25th, 2006 issue of the Boston Globe, Peter Abraham wrote an article entitled An In-Depth Conversation with David Ortiz. In this article, Abraham would explain how Ortiz came into pro baseball. He wrote that in the year 1992, David Ortiz signed his first contract to play pro baseball. He had turned 17 just a few days earlier. The alternative presented to Ortiz was baseball or selling used car parts with his dad. It goes without saying that David Ortiz was willing to go wherever baseball would take him. After 23 years of being an absolute force in Major League Baseball and being the most feared bat in the entire sport, during the offseason of 2015, Ortiz announced that the following season would be his last. Usually when someone announces their retirement from a professional sport, you expect them to put together a so-so outing. This was not the case for Big Papi, and here's why. According to ESPN.com, his 2016 stats conclude that he hit 127 RBIs and crushed a whopping 38 home runs. Where most athletes experience a decline in their last season, Ortiz did this after chalking up 108 RBIs and 37 home runs in his previous season. FoxSports.com informs us that in his final season, David Ortiz stepped outside of his comfort zone. When you're 41 years old, weighing in at 230 pounds, nobody is going to expect you to steal bases. In his final year, David Ortiz would steal not one, but two. He would also turn on the Jets after making contact with the ball, logging in 1 triple. These two stats are unheard of in terms of big league designated hitters, not to mention 40-year-olds at the end of their career. This man puts up numbers of someone in the middle of their baseball career at the end of his. That's how legendary Big Papi truly was for Major League Baseball. There have been so many great hitters in America's favorite pastime, but none of them were more clutch than Big Papi Ortiz. After everything I've presented here, hopefully it has given you an in-depth look at David Ortiz's illustrious life and career, from the 17-year-old Dominican kid signing his first big league contract to a one-of-a-kind pressure performer. David Ortiz is not only the greatest DH of all time, he is also my hero. It's the American League Championship Series. Everything your team has worked for is at stake. The bases are loaded with 2 outs. And in the bottom of the 8th inning, with the opposing team's best closing pitcher standing on the mound, who would you want in the batter's box? I rest my case.